Now I've got two Greg Tanzans.
Hmm.
Greg, you can't be counted twice.
Mhm.
There's your camera.
He's back.
All right, so get rid of the other one. You're gonna get rid of the other one.
He's got to unmute.
You also have to unmute. There we go.
So how do you get rid of it?
Yes, you gotta go over to the other one. There you go. Done.
Gone.
Perfect.
I don't know what I did.
All
You
right.
could have voted twice.
Yeah.
All right. So saying all that, here we go. I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So move.
Second,
Second, and I got a second. Roll call. Mr. Galley,
yes.
myself is a yes. Mr. Tanzi? I'm assuming you said yes. Now I
I
can't hear
did.
you. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right. Let me oh, and for everybody that is on this meeting is being recorded and it is being televised. So, with that being said, let me read the where are we? Open meeting and to do. Okay, 7:30 p.m. Notice is hereby given that a virtual public meeting will be held at 7:30 p.m. on February 4th, 2025 by the Rockland Zoning Board of Appeals. The purpose of this meeting is for discussion, review, and proposed vote to approve meeting minutes. Based on that, I'm assuming that the only ones that I'm looking at, Deb, are for January 21st.
Right. Yep.
Okay. And when it comes to, I got two documents. Does the proposed zoning bylaw change? Is that going to be a part of the minutes?
So what I what I did for the second attachment was I took like I emailed separately like the notes that I took from last week.
Yep.
From the last meeting and kind of highlighted like who was responsible for what.
Perfect.
Just I figured you could just quickly go over it. If you want me to add it to the minutes, I can, or we can treat it like as a separate document. It's however you prefer it.
No, I understand. I either from, I think, again, if the board members, you also vote on this. I look at it and from an ease, you can just attach this as a page 2 on the minutes. Because at least this way it shows what we talked about, who was responsible for what, and that's really all it needs to do.
Okay.
So other than that, I would make a motion to, well, has everybody read the minutes? Is everybody comfortable with it?
Yeah, I read them.
Okay,
Yeah.
Greg, you read them?
Yeah.
Okay, as long as everybody's comfortable with them, I would make a motion to approve as written.
So moved.
So I got motion, second, roll call. Mr. Galley,
Yes.
myself is a yes. Mr. Tanzi,
Yes.
there we go. All right, so that takes care of that. We can go to said agenda. So notice 7:30. I was trying to push this out for the full 5 minutes, but it didn't happen. Okay. We've got
1 minute.
what do I got? What do I got? I got 52, 53, 54, 6 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Okay.
There we go.
7:35.
Pretty good.
Where are we? 7:35. Notices hereby given that a virtual remote public meeting will be held at 7:35 p.m. on February 4th, 2025 by the Rockland Zoning Board of Appeals. The purpose of the meeting is for discussion of proposed zoning bylaw changes. Now, again, not looking for anything definitive, not looking to check up on anybody. But has anybody started looking at this?
Well, I wrote up the definition you asked me for. I sent it to
All right,
Deb.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you have the ability to share screen, or do you want to just go over it, or how do you want to do that?
I don't know if I share screen. I'm gonna say no
Okay.
because I'm not using the computer I have it on.
Oh, okay.
So I couldn't pull it up right now. I put it on something else.
Okay. No, that's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. you know, in the grand scheme, let me just go back and see. So definition deliveries, definition. Okay, so we worked under that. You worked with that definition right there, the definition of deliveries.
Yeah, you asked me to come up with a definition of deliveries.
Cool. All right.
Just to let you know, I tried to look at, I looked at all the surrounding towns. Nobody defined delivery.
Yeah.
So okay. So I had to start off with the dictionary and then look at what the context were of delivery. So do you want me to read what I came up with?
Yeah, if you can, go for it, man.
All right, cool. All right, this is what I came up for a definition of delivery. Physical transfer, forgive me, starting over. Physical transfer and or distribution of goods or materials for future performance of services on or off the property on behalf of the property owner or occupant within the lot area, including but not limited to conveyance between A, person to person, B, building to person, C, building to vehicle, or vice versa. A little bit long-winded, but
No, dude, are you kidding me? That's perfect.
thank you.
Are you serious? Did you come up with that yourself, or did you pirate some of that?
I started off with the dictionary.
Yep.
And then I kind of just looked. I just looked for context in the bylaw.
Oh,
In the bylaws just to come up with, you know, where they were using it. So I took some terms out of other definitions or other,
Mhm.
Other towns too.
dude, that as far as I'm concerned, that's virtually perfect.
All
What I would ask is before any vote gets put down from our board members,
Yep.
before any vote gets put down, I'd like to have the other board members look at it, and I'd like to
Yep.
have them here. I mean, we could easily vote for this now, and I would be 100% on top of it. But I'd also like to look at it. I'd like them to look at it and stuff like that. So
Right.
if that's cool by you.
Oh, definitely. Trust me. I want to make sure it's something's not overreaching and nothing's incomplete. So.
Oh no, I dig it. I dig it. Gregor,
Yeah.
what do you got? What was you responsible for? What did you do?
It was the
Firearms, right?
Yep.
Oh, you muted.
No. He's in thinking.
no. Can you,
Whoa,
Rob?
there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
we can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. Basically, it's any business establishment. Any for-profit business establishment. Let me interject that. Business establishment that requires I believe it's an AFFL, which is a firearms license to conduct business, to legally conduct. Let me legally conduct business. I wanted to keep it brief and simple. I want to double check on that license. It's AFL.
I think it's a federal
I was
firearms
just about to
license or
say that
something.
if it's a federal and state, or if it's one or the other or whatever, and whatever that license is definitely needs to be spelled out in the definition. So
Yeah, a federal firearms license
there you go.
To conduct business.
Mm-hmm.
And there are state it'll have to meet state codes too, because Massachusetts, you have to, you have to have it's not just selling guns, it's ammunition as well, but I think it's covered underneath that. And it has to be the the business entity shall also comply to all current state licenses, laws, and regulations.
So we still have one. We had one for a while up in the center.
Yeah,
Still there? No. Okay.
I don't think it is. I think that was the only one.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, it would be firearms, rifles, ammunition. I think ammunition components, because some people can buy the components and make their own ammo.
Okay.
But I don't really want to get that's straying outside what the if it's a business entity for profit complying to all state and federal regulations.
In regards to the sales and distribution of legal firearms and firearms accessories.
Yeah, ammunition. Well, I don't know. I mean, what if somebody wants to sell a holster? That's a firearm accessory, but why
Sell it to who?
sell it to somebody with a firearm?
So give me an example. Somebody like a leather worker or something like that wants to sell a holster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's do they need a license to do it?
I don't think so.
No. I'm thinking I'll be very specific and think of people leather workers that would be in either the E.T. Wright building or the sandpaper factory. If someone engaged in leather crafting in here was contracted or just made a gun holster, you don't need to be licensed to sell a gun holster that I know of.
Right.
I don't know that. But gut feeling says that no, you don't have to.
I mean, what if I wanted to, be a cowboy for a Christmas party and I needed a leather holster and had a cap gun that I put in it,
Yep.
Stuff like that.
That's a toy. That's a toy or costume.
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, I would say limit it to what it is, but definitely make it more than firearms business. A dude that sells guns legally in the state and country. It's got to be a little bit more than that. You're on the right track.
I meant to double check some stuff, and I didn't have some the time to do it, but I like to just kind of massage.
Of course, no, like I said, this is not a definitive ad. This is not definitive whatsoever.
I understand it's a work in progress, but I do need more work. I want to keep it concise. I want to keep it simple, easy to understand, but I also want to cover the bases.
And this is all about people in the business of selling guns or ammunition, right?
Right.
Okay. Basically, a retail.
Here's a suggestion. Look at Abington because they have Walmart, and the last I knew, Walmart sells ammunition, but I don't remember if they still sell guns or not. So look at Abington. Look at Foxborough because they have Bass Pro Shop. Look in Holbrook because I know there's at least one in Holbrook. See, those are the three that I would, right off the bat, suggest looking at. That's number one. But number two, simple Google search, for, firearms dealers near me. Google firearms dealers near me. And see what comes up. I know Brockton, city of Brockton, I know there's at least one.
Weymouth has one too.
Weymouth has one too. So
Bridgewater has several of them.
well, there you go. Do you guys have a definition of firearms?
You know,
Firearms
let me just quickly let me
Right. Let's do this. Look at it on your own time, because I have
Yeah.
one that I need to present here too. When you
All
when
right.
you come together with something, a little bit better of a something.
Yeah.
Get it to Deb. Steve, when you get a chance, just email a draft. Do you have a draft like a Word document or something?
I sent it to Deb.
I have
All
it.
right, Deb's got it. That's fine.
Yeah, I realized she might need it to make corrections, so I wanted to give her something.
Nice. Greg, do the same. Once you start putting it together, email it to Deb so she gets something. I have something that I want to do a share screen because I don't want to
Yeah.
I don't want to,
Yeah.
I don't want to start talking, start
Yeah.
speaking about this. So here we go. This is my share screen. All right. Do you guys see the Word document?
Yes.
Okay. So I had the definition of building coverage and lot coverage. Most every town that I know of, and the ones that I checked, they started it with coverage, building and coverage
Mhm.
lot. That way it stays together in the alphabetically in the definition section.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
So I kept it simple like that. And again, the portion of a lot covered or occupied by buildings, inclusive of sheds, covered entries, porches, and gazebos. That's building coverage. That would not include a deck. All right, a deck technically, and Greg, I think you'll agree with me on this one. A deck is not impervious.
Right. It's not a permanent structure either.
Well, no, it can be a permanent structure, but it's definitely not impervious, meaning that, yeah, let's say rain will
Yeah.
go through the rain will go through the slats, because typically there's like a quarter inch of separation.
Right.
Sometimes less, but there's usually a separation between the deck boards. A deck will hold snow, but the snow melt, if left there, will also go through the deck. And typically under the deck, it's just dirt. Typically there's no patios, typically there's no anything on it.
Mhm.
So then it comes to lot coverage, that portion of the lot covered by any man-made materials that are impervious to water. So that's your concrete patios, that's your bituminous concrete driveways, that's concrete driveways. The one thing that I think I got to look at a little bit, and Greg, I think you can work with me on this one. When it comes to pavers, like paver walkways, and when it comes to paver patios and stuff like that, there is a pervious aspect to that. Right, Greg?
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. There's some products are called permeable pavers.
Yeah.
Because they're designed to have spacings in between them,
Mm-hmm.
such that they will drain water through them.
Now, even that, and to take it one step further, if you go out to anybody's paver patio or paver deck or paver whatever it is, all right, if you took a hose and shot it with water and just sat it there, the water would infiltrate between the bricks because it's not connected, it's not poured all together. So there is an aspect of infiltration when it comes to these pavers. So I think I need to, when it comes to lot coverage, what I'd like to do is I'd like to look at the conservation bylaw and see what they say. Maybe talk to Doug and see what he says, or see what he knows when it comes to like pavers and paver patios and stuff like that. Because typically lot coverage and building coverage, it really only comes up. It really only comes up when you're coming way too close to it, way too close to the maximums, or when there's a stormwater permit that needs to be sought. Now, we have a stormwater permit in this town, but it's going through some things right now. Saying in either way, that's something that I think needs to be looked at when it comes to the definition of lot coverage. I just want to talk to conservation a little bit. I didn't even think about that until just like right now. I want to talk to conservation. I want to see what they have for some sort of definition, and if they allow, or if they have worked with and allowed and stuff like that, pervious pavers, or what kind of, what they allow for coverage when it comes to using pavers. The other thing that's going to happen is the table at 415-22 is just going to, it says maximum building average percent of lot. Maximum building coverage. Change the terminology that's used there. And then you add a column for lot coverage. Now, I say maximum lot coverage should be 75% total, because in the grand scheme of things, and I can show this, give me 2 seconds here. I want to pull up the bylaw itself. Oh, if you can see it.
Is the question of lot coverage all about water infiltration?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Basically. Because typically,
But so do we have to define whether it's, permeable, or, what I mean? That water gets through it, or
yeah, kind of, because the whole concept of the lot coverage
yeah,
is impervious structures. So you
okay,
got your house, you got your driveway, you got your concrete walkway. This
yeah,
is all stuff that's decreasing the infiltration on the lot itself. So
okay,
most everybody has most every town has specifics. What we got? There's 22 building lot regs.
So,
Go there.
are there any houses that are on steep slopes that the back part of the house is like raised off the ground? Would that portion that's raised not count as, lot coverage or building
Raised? You
coverage?
mean like on stilts or
Like
sawtubes?
stilts, yeah. Say the back part of the house is on stilts. There's a little bit of under the house that's with the slope with open
Yep.
air.
That would
And
be considered impervious, because the rain, the whole concept is rain coming
straight
directly
down.
down
Okay,
can't hit that.
gotcha. It's basically it's considered perpendicular, straight down. Okay,
Exactly.
gotcha.
Even though we know that
Basically,
rain goes
yeah.
sideways and
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Okay.
Water's not permeating through the structure.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to share my screen one more time. I want you guys
Mhm.
to see share the screen, share that. All right. Can you see this is the table in 415-22?
Okay, yep.
All right. I got maximum building percent at average percent of lot. Now, R1, R2, R3, R4, and then the RSH1, there's only one zone over there, so I'm not worried about that per se. So we've got a maximum building coverage set up basically throughout the entire town. So I'm comfortable with these. All right, I'm absolutely comfortable with these numbers. And in the grand scheme of things, I'm looking at this saying B1 and B2. B1 and B2, you can cover those lots 80% with just the building.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that maybe, and we've got several lots. I guess that doesn't even know. I got to think about, I want to think about this just a little bit, because with the B1 and B2, you can go 80% of the entire lot. But then when it comes to lot coverage, that other 20% in a business aspect has the potential to be a paved parking lot. So that's 100% bill. That's 100% lot coverage.
Do we have to add a definition for impervious building? Like built structure, impervious, structure,
I hear
non-impervious?
you. I hear you. From a layman's perspective, I would say yes. From specifically from a layman's perspective. But Greg, do you know of any towns, most specifically conservation commission, that have a definition of impervious surface?
Yeah, I mean, basically they just say that anything that's for an impervious surface.
Yeah. Do you know of any towns that have a definition?
I'm trying to just go by memory, but I think some of them kind of define impervious they define it in the definition or
Within the
code.
bylaw itself.
Like, for example, no lot shall have an impervious area
I lost them.
Gregor, we
whatever.
can hear you. There you go. What are you doing?
I don't know.
He's having the same problem that that Mr. Baker Jr. has been having.
He's gone again.
It's because I think it's because he's not using the app. He's not using the app on his computer. He's using the
Browser.
So I
Yeah.
think that's part of the.
It probably is, but they'll define when they say you can't have more than 50% impervious area for parking, and then they'll say example standard pavement. They might even include gravel. They might say pavers or any other hard surface that you can drive or park on. I can't recall.
I can't hear him.
Talk. You don't hear you. You don't hear you. Whoa.
They will identify. They'll define what a structure is. They'll define what building coverage is and what lot coverage is, but they don't really. I don't recall seeing any town defining what impervious is. I'm sure there's a couple of bylaws out there, but I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Okay. Now watch this. I remember the Duxbury had a very good differentiation on this. This is Duxbury zoning bylaw. The maximum percentage of a lot, building coverage, the maximum percentage of a lot in any district which is covered by buildings which constitute principal and accessory uses thereof, garages, barns, storage sheds, or additions and alterations to the principal residential building occupying the lot shall not be exempt from the definition of building coverage. Here's the problem with that. It doesn't say what they really wanted to say. Anything with a roof. It doesn't specifically say that. Garages, barns, storage sheds, additions and alterations to the principal residential building occupying the lot. Here's the problem. Alterations to the principal residential building occupying the lot. That could be a deck. They didn't specify. So when it comes right down to it, do they have, oh, and then and so that's a building. So site coverage, the percentage of a lot in any district which is covered by impervious structures, including the principal building and accessory structures on the lot. For the purposes of this section, such impervious structures shall include, but are not limited to, paved driveway, parking areas, sidewalks constructed of impervious materials, principal and accessory structures, and other on-site amenities that render any portion of the lot impervious. Is there a definition of impervious? Oh, look at that. Referring to the condition in which portions of the lot are rendered impervious by structures which cover previously natural or undeveloped land area, therefore potentially altering natural drainage and groundwater recharge characteristics. Impervious
You know what?
coverage
Rob,
and
can you
site
hear me?
coverage are the same, are virtually the same. I don't see that being any different.
Rob, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yep. Yes.
I just thought of something.
Hmm.
What's on these bylaws and their definitions?
Mhm.
If I wanted to put a parking lot in front of my house,
Yep.
and I used permeable pavement,
Yep.
yeah, I kind of have a legal right to do that under those bylaws, on the the definition of the bylaw. I'd
Yep.
be in court battling it, but the town would be fighting for me. But that's a loophole in that bylaw that they didn't account for,
Which
or
bylaws?
that you just read, Duxbury's,
Mhm.
because they're defined within that, building lot coverage. You can see they defined what impervious area was.
Mhm.
They talked about driveways and blah, 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 pavement. But, if somebody was a jerk and they just paved their front lawn with permeable pavement,
Mhm.
it's a porous pavement. I mean, you discharge a fire hydrant onto it and the water just soaks right through it.
Mhm. So what's the problem with that? It's not perfect. It's not impervious.
Well, the
That's not a bad
intent
thing.
of, huh?
That's not a bad thing.
Well, somebody could get around the intent of that bylaw. I know
What's
what they're trying to do in
the
Duxbury.
intent of what? The lot
Somebody
coverage?
using their front lawn as a parking lot.
You can use the lawn. You can use your front lawn as a parking lot right now. Want me to show you? I'll drive down from the sandpaper factory. I'll park on your front lawn. I'll come right off. I won't even come off your driveway. I'll come off the street.
Yeah.
And I'll park it right there in the middle.
I know.
You can park on your front lawn as long as you're 10 feet off the property. And even that, I don't think you have to do because
Right.
it's not paved.
But the percentages that they're referring to, that they're
Mhm.
regulating, that they're regulating the amount of impervious area on a site, which
Right.
includes driveways and parking
Yep.
and so forth.
Yep.
I mean, if I wanted to be a jerk, I could, as that's written, technically I could get around it.
Yeah, but what do you gain? You want to, the whole point is
I'm
drive.
saying hypothetically, if you get
Mhm.
some guy who, wants to, yeah, I don't know, has a bunch of guys come over with
Mhm.
pickup trucks and everything, and
They just came from the firearms business.
yeah. I hope not. Well, I'm not. No, I'm only kidding. It doesn't.
No, I definitely hear what you're saying, but in the grand scheme of things, if someone wants to be able to park cars on their front yard, all right.
Mhm.
First and foremost, I think, and you'd have to talk to Tom Rubel on this one. I think if that's what they wanted to do,
Mhm.
first and foremost, they should be seeking a driveway permit. All right, like a driveway extension permit. Yep.
415-33, there are rules for driveways.
There are
415-33.
driveways, but parking
So
area.
what, but that's not a parking area?
A
at a house?
driveway can be a parking area, but there can be, put it this way.
Yeah,
See, I know you've seen driveways that start off, they're like the 12 feet or whatever whatever
Yeah.
the minute is. The 12 feet, they go in for, let's say, what, 50 feet,
yeah,
and then they bubble out.
okay,
Where it bubbles out, that's the parking area.
okay,
The driveway is where it comes from the street and gets to that bubble out area. But the thing is that some of us, like myself,
yep,
only have an area where you come right off the street for 25 feet, and that's where you put your car. So
okay, yeah,
while that's my driveway, it's also my parking area.
all right,
It's again, it gets weird. It gets legal. And I've seen case law where the two were differentiated, had to
Yeah.
be differentiated because someone was coming into the lot coverage thing. I think it had something to do with it was a conservation thing. But they had to come up with a definition because they only defined driveway.
yeah,
They didn't define parking lot. You
Mm.
see the rabbit hole this causes?
yeah,
It caused everything about it causes like severe rabbit holes.
Mm.
And it's hard not to go down them. So
Mm.
I don't know. So do we 100% define impervious surface? Maybe. I think I like that idea, but again, I want to talk to before I make any kind of like concrete submissions to the board for for discussion, for severe, serious discussion. I need to talk to or at least I'd like to discuss it with Doug Delaney and get his opinion on it when it comes to those three, because typically those three are always looked at in
yeah,
a conservation scenario, always.
mhm,
Yeah, I mean, they do. And under the Wetlands Protection Act, permeable pavement is considered a BMP treatment structure. It's an option. I don't,
Oh,
so I mean, I'm not against, BMP structures or permeable pavement by any
Mhm.
stretch of the imagination.
yeah,
It's actually a very handy and effective way of treating and disposing of stormwater. It's not a bad thing. And
But- but
but
yeah,
it could be abused from a zoning standpoint.
see, this is both sides of the tables that he and I work
Yeah.
on.
I
This
see.
is-
I mean, I don't think Doug Galemi or the commission would have any issues with, an applicant using permeable pavement.
Hingham did at one point. Hingham did.
Yeah, Hingham, and so did Situate, and it's all a matter of control because it's an effective way of treating stormwater and eliminating a problem that could have prevented the floodgates of development from occurring. So, I don't care if an applicant uses this product.
You just don't want to see
I-
it used for anything.
Right. I wouldn't want to see them say, well, to exceed their zoning lot coverage and say, well, I'm not using an impervious structure. I'm not covering my lot with an impervious material.
Mhm.
And therefore I meet the bylaw. And then they would be correct. But you've got something that's not in harmony with the neighborhood surroundings, and that's a big part of what zoning is. I mean, that's a big part of what our building and lot coverages are.
Well, I agree with you.
Now, are we looking to vary the percentages based on
The
the
different
size of the
zones.
lot?
See, again, let me pull up. There we go. Can you see it? Can you guys see this?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So by zone, when it comes to the building coverage, all right, by zone, there is a specific number that everybody gets. So in the grand scheme of things, the R1s, it's all the same lot. It's all the same minimum lot, lot configuration. Every residential lot in this town has to be 32,670 square feet. This takes some of the fun out of it, all right? Because in an R1 versus an R2 versus an R3 versus R4, R1, you can have a house that takes up 25% of your lot. R2, you can have one house with 2 units in it that take up 30%. R3, same lot size, but take up 35%. R4, you can have 32,670, but it takes up 40%. Now, apply that to pre-existing non-conforming structures. All right? Structures and lots and stuff like that. Some of these lots down on, what is it, specific, for specifics? Let's look at Belmont, Pacific, and Upper Reed. There are some lots on there that are excruciatingly small. 5,000 square foot lots, but yet they've got a house on them. All right. So if they wanted to do something, let's say put an ADU out there, they are right off the bat, they are probably going to need a variance on the lot coverage for building coverage. Because they're going to go over they're probably going to go close to over it, close to 40%. It may end up being like 3% or 4% or something like that. So that's a something that's got to be looked at. And again, just like every other thing that we really have to look at, it's not for new homes. We're really not looking at new homes. We're looking at all homes that exist currently. That's why this gets a little bit funky. It ends up getting a little bit funky. More so to me for the business aspect, for the B1, B2s. We're looking at, again, a lot of existing businesses. They've already got 80%, lot coverage. And 80% building coverage, which means 20% is something else. What is that something else? In a B1, B2, can we say that? If we're telling them that, if we're already telling them that they can have 80% building coverage, does that mean you can have 100% lot coverage? Because typically those buildings need a parking. And that final 20% has the potential to be that parking. So that's where I get kind of, I don't know, confused a little bit. So does B1 and B2, do they get 100% lot coverage? I think that's kind of where it's all leaning when it comes to 80% building coverage. And then you look at the I1s, all the industrials and the H1s, that's 50%. So say 50%, and again, we're dealing with 50% the building. Do we want to turn around and say 50% can be the paving? I don't think so. I don't think so. So the other way to look at it is if the B1 and B2 have 80% 80% building coverage, do you say 100%? 100% of the B1, B2 lots can be paved, just knowing where they are. Because mostly the B1, and Deb, you might be able to confirm this for me. Most of the B1, B2s are up at, B1, B2s for the most part are up and down Union Street. And I can actually open the zoning map too. For zoning. All right, this might screw up my bandwidth. You guys see this?
Yep.
Yep.
So based on this B1 and B2, B1 and B2, B1 is a very dark gray, B2 is kind of like a light purple. So here's your light purple right in here. Market Street. This is John Dunn. There's what is it? Luke's Liquors. Who's the liquor store that's down here? Is it Luke's?
Luke's, yeah.
Liquors. And here's all your B, what did I say? B2? There's all your B2. Now go up through, here's Union Street, the dark gray. That's all B1. B1, 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 B1. You got some B2 with a B1 here. With B2. Who is this? Oh, look at that. That's VFW. All right. So you got a whole bunch of B2 down here with a B1 at the end of Greenwood Street. So you got B2 all through here. There's what is this? Sullivan Tire.
Mm-hmm.
The Sullivan Tire. There's the Players Sports Bar and stuff like that. A lot of this is all business in here. And then from there, that's really about it. So that's your B2, is your B1 all in here. Most of your B1, a lot of it is 100% paved already. Most everything along this section of Union Street, it's 100% paved. So I look at that and say, okay, you got your B1. There's a B1 here. I don't even know who that is, but there's a B1 directly across from who's that? I don't even know what street that is, but I think that B1 they should be allowed to pave 100% because they're probably already paved 100% anyway. And this is the only real section that you got B1. B2, different story. All right, B2, I don't believe that they should be allowed to pave it 100%. Like over in here. This is right here. This is they just came to us. Who's that?
Rad.
South Shore Landscapes Supply. They just came to us not too long ago. That's not something that you want paving 100%. You don't want that. Go across the street from there, you got 200, I think that's 200 VFW. No, wait a second. That I think is 200 VFW. This is Supreme Muffler. B2, my gut feeling is B2 you wouldn't want. You wouldn't want them to pay it 100% because the B2 is not the same kind of business that the B1 is. This is rabbit hole stuff. I'm sorry, guys. There's a lot to it, and I do apologize. It's
not an easy decision.
No. This is why I'm not even
decisions.
close to. This is why I'm not even close to really having anything that I want severe discussion on at this point. So I apologize for that. And I know I was trying to get. I kind of hurried you through Rare, and I apologize for that. I'm going to stop talking about this. I know that based on just going over things with you guys, things that I didn't even think about are kind of popping up in my head that I need to kind of look at. Because the only other things that I kind of need to really think about, I mean, is there any place else in here that this would need to be basically changed? Because there's always different places within the same bylaw. There's different places where this all comes up. One of the places was in the DROD, the Downtown Rockland Revitalization Overlay District. it comes up, it says maximum lot coverage by all buildings. That would be building coverage. And that says 80%. This is everything that's up and down Union Street, all right, in that B1 area. So it's saying that maximum building coverage would be 80%. Do we want to say in that same area, maximum lot coverage, 100%? I don't know. I don't think we have the choice. Because typically what's going to happen is someone that goes in there, let's say someone that goes in there and wants to build something under the D-Rod, under the D-Rod section. If the entire lot is already 100% paved, even though you're changing the condition out there, I don't think you can take that kind of away from them. It's pre-existing condition.
Yeah, they'd be grandfathered.
They would be
Yeah.
grandfathered. You can't even modify that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though it's new construction, you still can't take away the fact that for longer than any of us will ever know.
Yeah.
It's been paved 100%, and the drainage has been either coming off the driveway and going into the roadway, or has been coming off the parking lot and stuff like that, and going on to other people's driveways, and onto other people's properties and stuff like that. This is where the stormwater permit would kind of come into play. But the stormwater permit is not even within the zoning bylaw. It is within the general bylaws of the town. Greg, when designing a project, have you ever gone looking into the general bylaws of a town when it comes for looking
No.
for design, looking for it? You hear what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I mean, any stormwater bylaw should either be in the conservation regulations.
Yep.
Could be planning board regulations. A lot of times, subdivision control law, subdivision rules and regulations will have, the drainage regulations in there.
Who just barked? I just heard that.
I think Deb barked.
No,
was that your dog?
Huck.
No?
It was Huxley.
Oh, it was great.
Somebody just came home, and he always barks when he hears somebody.
Oh, I thought he was getting as excited about zoning as I do. So
Yeah.
That's what.
Put my dog to sleep.
That's one of the things. That's where, again, when you start talking lot coverage, when you start talking building coverage, when you start talking pervious surfaces, impervious surfaces, when you start talking about that, it brings up other topics. And again, this is where I talk about a rabbit hole, because once you start talking about one, it ties into everything else. And then just because I was asked a question about the stormwater bylaw. I knew we were approved. I knew the town approved some, but I didn't know where it was. So I went looking for it, and it's shoved so deep into the general bylaws. The general law. Yeah, it was general law part 2. What was it? Town right here. Watch this. You can see this too. All right, can you guys see this?
Yep.
All right, this is the E code for the town. All right, so it starts off with the town charter. All right, you can you can go through the town charter and see everything. All right, so from there it goes to general bylaws. All right, this is general bylaws of the town, your administrative legislation, general legislation. For the stormwater bylaw, you got to go into general legislation, which is part 2 of the general bylaws, and it's shoved all the way down the bottom. Almost. Exactly, Huxley. I'm very excited about this too.
And then
So by the time it's all said and done, here's our stormwater management bylaw that nobody knows about.
and they define impervious surface there, I think, too.
I don't even know at this point. Definition.
Yeah, definitions.
I'm glad I brought this up then. Listen to the person, interior structure. Impervious surface includes limited roads, paved parking lots, sidewalks, and rooftops. Now, okay, we can take that. I can definitely take that. It's gonna be, and I'm gonna need some sort of citation that refers back to the general bylaws, which is fine. I got no problem doing that. But I don't know if, I'm not positive, if the Conservation Commission even knows about this. This is why I need to talk to Doug. Thank you, Steve, for bringing that out. That's huge. So this is my biggest problem with the bylaw, the stormwater bylaw. Nobody knows it exists. That's number one. And number two, I think Greg, you and I talked about this years ago when they first started doing this. There was no triggers. There was nothing that triggered needing to go to the planning board to seek a stormwater permit.
Yeah.
So it's just, it was done to satisfy this one. As far as I know, this one was done to satisfy the same kind of situation that the MBTA zoning satisfied. The reason why we had to create MBTA zoning was because we were going to lose this, that, the other thing if we didn't get it. We created it, done. With the stormwater bylaw, we had to create that because it had something to do with FEMA and
Was it MS4? Yeah, that's the EPA MS4 requirements. One of their requirements made towns rewrite bylaws, stormwater bylaws, or have a stormwater bylaw.
yeah, we never had.
And it's typically in relation to discharging stormwater into existing town drainage structures.
They took this, Deirdre Hall took this, because she spearheaded this whole thing. I believe she took most of this from the city of Quincy, but it ended up, where was it? Right there. No, actually, it was the definition. Sorry, guys. It was up spot here. Purpose of this bylaw is to protect the health, safety, general welfare, and environment by regulating illicit connections and discharges from the storm drain directly or indirectly to a water course or into the waters of the Commonwealth, as well. This is the big one, as well as to control the adverse effects of construction site stormwater runoff and post-construction stormwater. Post-construction stormwater runoff is potentially a major cause of blah 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 blah. So the second aspect of this was reviewing proposed and as-built drainage construction to see what happens with all that drainage. As far as I know, that's already been done because we always see drainage calculations when it came to Shangle, when it came to 420 Concord Street, when it came to who was the other one? Holy Family Apartments. Anytime there's site plan review required and there's new drainage, look at all the marijuana facilities that we looked at. They all had to go to site plan approval. And anytime the site plan approval and you're paving a whole bunch of stuff, there have to be drainage calculations. This is why drainage basins get created and this, that, the other thing. So all of that's getting taken into consideration, but the permit's never getting issued. So whatever. Why am I talking about this? It has nothing to talk about. It has nothing to do with zoning, other than the fact that the definition of lot coverage, definition of building coverage, and now, thanks to Steve, the definition of impervious coverage or impervious surface has something to do with it. So sorry, guys. Didn't mean to go off on a tangent like that.
You want meeting?
Yes.
So, other than that.
Yeah, close it, please.
Does anybody else, Gregor, does Huxley want to get involved with this?
No, he got bored with
You
it.
got bored?
Yeah,
So one of the aspects of impervious coverage, he thinks roof. Yes?
yeah, he's gonna let me bark about that, you know.
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say thank you for letting me talk so much. I apologize. But I do have a little bit more work to do. And like I said, it ties in the building coverage and the lot coverage ties into so many other things. I just want to make sure that there's a little bit more consistency than there already is. So that was that. The other two aren't here, so I'm not going to worry about it. So we've had that discussion, so we're good at this point. Just keep on working. I appreciate what you've done so far. That's excellent. It's further than we've ever gotten when it comes to these changes that we've wanted to make. So that discussion is all said and done. I think we're good there. We don't have to adjourn anything, so that's good. So number 4, other items not reasonably anticipated or listed may be brought up for discussion to the extent allowed by law. I turn the chair to Deb Shuttlesworth. Got anything to talk about, lady?
No, but to go back to the bylaw changes,
Yes.
nobody was assigned or picked tattooing.
Okay.
So, you just want to keep it like as an open item for now?
Yeah, I think everybody's got something like a major something that they have to.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you don't want.
Okay, so in the meantime, I did reach out to Deli,
Yep.
too, and I have some information, from her.
Oh, rocking. Okay.
So, but says that she is not in favor of like the pop-up type things.
Okay.
But whatever. So I do have some rigs for Delhi, and one of the so there's a town regulation already that I believe was put in back when the tattoo bylaw was added.
Mhm.
But there's also state regulations which she would have to get certified in. And she said that she's definitely willing to take that course in order to do that. And that's more like the body art aspect of it. I suppose it all comes under body art, but like things like piercings and like the makeup portion and like it's pretty broad in scope.
Well, the first thing is that the first thing that I'm hoping, the first thing that I'm hoping is that we can take and we can get it added to the B1
Right.
as an approved use.
Like a
can-
tattoo parlor per se, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, it could
Yeah.
be I would love to get that into the B1 section as an approved use by special permit. You know, not a by right. Definitely not. Definitely, you want to. I guess you want to vet this. You know, when it comes right down to it, you want to see who's coming in. So I think in the grand scheme of things that if we can get it put into the B1 as an approved use by special permit, that's a start. That's an absolute start. Because when it comes right down to it, tattooing is pretty much allowed in just about all of the industrials, all of the it's all the industrials. I'd have to look, but I think it's also in the H1. So in the grand scheme of things, it's allowed in it is allowed in other sections. So, you know, I'll have to talk to her about the whole pop-up thing because having tattoo conventions is a huge moneymaker for towns and stuff. So
Okay. All right, so that's all I had.
rock and roll. So we got
Okay.
that. Is there anything else to talk about, gentlemen? Hearing none. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So
Second.
moved. I got a second. Roll call, Mr. Galley.
Yes.
Myself is a yes. Mr. Tansy.
Yes.
Out of here.
All right. Good night.